Towers Falling, Chapter 19. History. On the whiteboard, Mr. Schmidt writes, "Attacks on American soil." Beneath the header, he adds dates, April 18, 1775, the Revolutionary War. Paul Revere was on a horse and he said, "The British are coming, the British are coming," classmates yell. "Is that really true?" asked Mr. Schmidt. Manny answers, "People just think he said that. His mission was top secret." June 18, 1812, War of 1812. In 1814, the British invaded Washington, D.C., and, he points to Michael, they burned the White House to the ground. December 7th, 1941. "I know," says Stasia, waving her hand. "The Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor." Technically, Hawaii wasn't U.S. soil. It didn't become a state until 1959. But yes, Mr. Schmidt stops writing, the attack led to America's entry into the war. December 7th, 1941, World War II. Ben, Sabine, and me glance at each other. We know what's coming. I want to yell at Mr. Schmidt and tell him to stop. Maybe I shouldn't be learning this? I clench my hands. I have to learn this. It's part of my parents' world, my family's, which means it's part of me, isn't it? I shudder. Sabine is crying again, sniffling at her desk. Mr. Schmidt writes ever so slow. February 26, 1993, World Trade Center bombing. I'm surprised. I was expecting September 11th, 2001. Other attacks on American soil were by other nations. This is the first transnational terrorist attack on the World Trade Center. You mean they tried to bring down the towers before, asked Stasia? Yes, with a truck bomb. It failed. Mr. Schmidt turns back to the whiteboard. September 11th, 2001. He puts down the marker, his shoulders slump, and his back curves. No one says a word. Mr. Schmidt turns, looking like an even older Yoda. Al-Qaeda terrorists attacked the World Trade Center and the Pentagon. We call them terrorists because they are not representative of a single nation. Instead, they're ideologues. Here's what that means. Ideologues are narrow-minded people, incapable of independent thought and critical thinking. So since 2001, America has been engaged in a new kind of war, a war on terror. Angel raises her hand. Why do they hate us? I can't help groaning. My head aches. Ben, his back ramrod straight, seems frozen, staring at the whiteboard. Sabine's elbows are on the desk. Her palms cover her eyes. Her fingertips touch her scarf. Mr. Schmidt isn't answering Angel's question. It's like his stomach is tied in knots. He's all choked up. I scowl. He should be tough, tougher. Tell us the whole story. Behind my closed lids, I see floors collapsing. Great gusts of gray dust, smoke rise. Seconds, mere seconds for the building to squish, squash, layer by layer, with tumultuous roaring, everything and everyone. I'm sick of Mr. Schmidt. I'm sick of Mr. Schmidt. Sick of what he and all these other Brooklyn teachers have to say. History is dead, not alive. It doesn't mean anything if they don't teach the whole story. In my mind, I see overlapping circles, connections. I see Ray's cutout dolls. 5 of us, Ray, Lita, me, and Ma. Pop is barely holding on. All 4 of us trying to raise him high. I'm angry. September 11th broke something in Pop. How come Pop never told me? Why isn't Mr. Schmidt telling me that? How could anybody hate my Pop, hate Americans so much? Fierce, I push against the desk. My chair bangs, clangs to the floor. I leave. I walk out. I don't like this school anyway. Deja! Deja! Mr. Schmidt's voice snaps at my heels.